Okay.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We're excited to be discussing the episode 6 of our HawkNest series here today, continuing on with our data topics here, talking about how we're going to boost sales with smart targeting and personalization. My name is Jonathan Meyer. You guys know me. I'm on basically all of these kind of conversations here, one of the senior solutions engineers for the Bridgeline team. I am joined by the founder of the HawkNest series here, the brains behind the operation, Mr. Gavin Kearns. Gavin, go ahead and say hello.
Hi, welcome back, everybody. We're really excited for the final episode of this series.
Yes.
We are taking a little bit of a summer break after this. We will be picking these up again in September, which is exciting. So Please don't forget to register or scan the QR code in the bottom corner here if you have any questions, you want to do a little more discovery, or you're just interested in seeing HawkSearch in a demo state. So yeah, please register. It'd be great.
Well, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Let's go ahead and do the kind of summary information here. Excuse me. So really today we're going to be focusing on two major points. And it's kind of we've been the last couple episodes, Gavin, you've been really driving home how the data is one of the key parts of the HawkSearch experience, how we can get all the data in from multiple sources, how we can then do some things with that data to help clean it up, make it better, really make it sing. But there's other things that we can leverage with that, kind of the entitlements and personalization. So why don't you run us down on what that looks like here from your perspective? And we'll be also getting into a demonstration.
Yeah, definitely. We will be. Yeah, we will be showing this in live examples right after this as well. But really what I wanted to do, and the kind of the purpose of the episode 6 here today, is to really kind of recap what the different areas of data can be. So obviously episode 4. No, what episode would we on? 4. Yes, episode 4. When we were talking about, all the different areas of data that we can integrate, right? Your ERP, all your e-commerce data, everything like that we can. But it was also very focused around your catalog, your product, all of that sort of stuff that goes along with that. The second component was, once we have that data in, and maybe the data is not the best, what tools do we have within Hawk to help normalize, expand your catalog exposure, all of these sort of little tricks that Hawk can offer to, maybe resolve some of those gaps you might have in your data. This episode is about that piece of data that you've gathered, which is the most important, and that is your customer data. So we have a lot of very cool tools within Hawk that utilize the power of that data that you've collected, and it allows us to get into stuff like we were mentioning here, like the customer entitlements, as well as that personalization component. So the B2B space, especially the distribution, is really starting to utilize this sort of data in really targeting their top tier customers, the way that they're marketing. It might be geographical if they have multiple locations. We have all sorts of capability just from the customer data, not even the catalog data, to start really driving some conversions and increasing your e-commerce business. So that's what we're going to cover today. Yeah.
I think it's super important because it really helps kind of, it's the thing that we hear a lot from our B2B customers is that, they're trying to bridge the gap between that in-store experience and that, when they're talking to their customer representative, and then when they're going online. And there's the difference there is that the customer representative, the in-store experience, they know a lot more about that customer in terms of, what can they buy, what is their availability, what do they like. And so we're really trying to take that experience and bring that into your e-commerce experience by being able to drive those entitlements, know, this is the section of the catalog that this customer has, as well as being able to understand, they prefer this brand, they like this vendor, that kind of information.
Yeah, exactly. And it's for HawkSearch. I mean, I guess we forget that this is just out of the box functionality for us. Makes life a lot easier for customers if they're coming across the HawkSearch. Everything that we're going to show today literally lives within your customer data. So this, you don't have to be creating, customer groups or however you have it structured, either in your ERP or your e-commerce platform. All of those things we talked about ingesting is going to come across. And we really picked these two areas because you and I, how many hundreds of demos have we done? And these are some of the most common sort of use cases we're seeing that people want to expand into. And maybe they have some limitations on their current vendor or, the way that they're doing things. But from the use case and the customer case, like the entitlements, I think we'll jump into that right away.
Yeah.
Really is taking your data, your customer data, and allowing you to, have price restrictions or price points, or maybe you've got geographical restrictions, maybe you've got pickup locations, all of these things that can associate to your customer's location, your customer's data, and allow you to kind of display the products, or display the pickup locations, or however you want to look about getting your order in, but based on the custom entitlements. So I think this would be a good example to jump into how we can manage that.
Yeah.
And then from here, we'll go into how you can personalize that. So, okay, this is going to give you location, maybe price group restrictions, maybe even certain item restrictions or brand restrictions based on geographical. There's kind of a never-ending list that we can talk about there. And then we can show you what we can do from a personalization perspective, that you can start thinking about how can I market and merchandise maybe my top tier guys, or maybe they're, the East Coast of the country or the West Coast of the country, and how we can merchandise, or the use cases based on the data. And, we could talk about this for a long time. So I'm going to be quiet here. I'm going to let you show this in real time.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and dive into that. And I think one of the best examples that we can drive, just kind of the clearest example of this entitlement, is going to be leveraging one of our clients, Kirby Risk, who's been with us for several years. And they're really doing a lot of heavy lifting with this entitlement. They're kind of one of the gold standards for what we think of when we understand, hey, we've dealt with this experience before, we understand the difficulties there, the use cases, and so on and so forth. So to just give you a real clear example of what we're talking about here on Kirby Risk, they're an electrical supplier, obviously in the B2B space. I'm going to jump up to their search box, and I'm going to do a quick search for the term sensors, and we're going to go ahead and pull back in our results for that search. Now, within this search, you're going to notice primarily that we've got 5,352 results being returned as part of this search result for the term sensors. What I want to call attention to is one particular value here, though, which is over here in the left-hand navigation, the facets and filters. Allen Bradley, as the brand name here, is driving the vast majority of these results. 4,439 of our 5,000 plus results are coming from this one single brand. The difficulty here, and one of the reasons that that Kirby Risk has been using HawkSearch and really likes the kind of entitlement functionality, because again, as Gavin mentioned, this is out of the box functionality for us. We understand this experience, and we've been doing this for so long that we, have just kind of natively baked into the tool to understand that this brand might not be available at every location. And that is what the use case is here. So being able to hide and remove 4,000 plus results from the experience to make sure that if we are shopping from not the Indianapolis distribution center, but from the Fort Wayne, Indiana location, our results are going to go ahead and update based off of that fact, because HawkSearch understands that entitlement. We know that at the Fort Wayne, Indiana location, again, based off of the data that we're getting, because this all goes back to kind of the data conversation here. But once we have that data, we can drive these kind of entitlements by saying, oh, we're now looking for results specifically from the Fort Wayne, Indiana location. Well, that's only going to be 751 results. And the reason why is a very clear example. There's no longer any Allen Bradley products being returned here, because HawkSearch understands that at this location, that brand name is not carried. And so it should not be returned as part of the search results experience. So knowing that entitlement, that segmentation is for the Fort Wayne, Indiana location, allows us to understand those results and return in only the 751 results that are available at that location, removing all 4,000 plus of the other brand because it's not available there. And this is native functionality. This is not something that required a lot of hoops to be jumped through. As long as we have that data, and as Gavin said, that can come from a number of different sources. It doesn't all need to live in one location. It can be spread across several different systems. As long as we can get all of that information in, we can drive these kinds of functionalities. We're talking about customer groups. We're talking about availability. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, we're obviously, we're showing this kind of in a live real time, no login capability, but really what we want to highlight is if you have an account and you're logging in, we can tell exactly where it is, where you're logging in from geographically, and we can automatically kind of have these entitlements come across. So this is a very cool example because we're showing it from, not logging in, and we can still break down entitlements just based on location. So you can really see where the use cases start kind of layering on top of each other here. And then we can take this even a step further now. So from a login perspective, we want to go in and we want to merchandise that login based on geographical or based on a customer group. That's really the next phase. So we've already taken the customer data, location, everything like this from a login perspective, and being able to real time provide the pricing that they are assigned to, their locations, the inventory, all of this sort of stuff. We're pulling in all of this data from multiple sources, and we're able to return those results and reflect all of those entitlements that are in place already. So yeah, we probably show this every single time, and it really does seem to be a limitation for a lot of people, you know, in their current kind of platforms or however they're doing things. So, you know, this is why we thought this would be just a really nice kind of wrap up segment to show, you know, outside of just product data, where can you go with your shopping experience through your customer data. So yeah.
And Gavin, I think you hit a really good point there in terms of the kind of the merchandising and the personalization aspect of that. You think about the you know, let's just keep on thinking about this location here, right? The Fort Wayne, Indiana location. There's 4,000 products that are not available at this location that are available at other locations. So what visitors are going to be shopping for at this location is going to be dramatically different than what is available or how they're shopping at the other locations. So being able to take that extra step that you're talking about there of saying, well, we are not only understanding the entitlements, but we're also then giving you the ability to say, no, for that location, we want to drive specific merchandising. We want to drive specific, you know, experiences, understanding the differences in that catalog. So let's actually go ahead and show how that kind of comes together. Because I think, again, Gavin, you're 100% spot on there, that this is something that is really beneficial to a lot of our clients. So we're going to go ahead and jump into one of our demonstration environments where we can kind of play around with this information. And just to really clearly show you, I'm going to go right into the preview. Because again, the preview within HawkSearch is one of those great ways where we can visualize what's happening with our data, why our results showing up the way that they are, and, you know, really kind of help explain to your marketers, your merchandisers, oh, this is why these results are showing up the way that they are. So to that end, let me go ahead and do a quick search here for the term jackets. Again, this is just our demonstration environment. So this is a kind of a retail clothing example here, but this can be any set of data. Obviously, as you're seeing with Kirby Wrist, this is not something that is only limited to a certain kind of data set here. This is just our demo that we have.
We're limited to more than jackets. Yeah, we're not limited just to jackets. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I want to call attention to the fact I've done this search for jackets. We're getting back in 185 results, but notice that there is no merchandising happening here. All of these products have a boost of 0. Well, that's because right now we're not applying any kind of segmentation. But within the preview, one of the cool things, the idea here, letting you kind of visualize what's happening with the results, is that from this little drop-down box down here, we can apply any segmentation. So not only are we able to help drive those results on the front end, but we want you to be able to see these experiences in the back end of the tool as well. So in the preview, Kirby Risk is just as easily come into their tool and say, oh, we want to apply that Fort Wayne, Indiana location restriction. Let me see what those experiences are. For our demonstration purposes here, though, we've got 2 geographic locations of New York or Florida. If I say that I'm looking for New York, that's going to go ahead and change the results here. You'll notice now that we've got our same search for jackets, we've got our same 185 results, but now we're getting back in merchandising here. We're getting back in these results that are pushed up here towards the top. These are giving a boost of 200. And again, one of the other nice things of the tool is I can hover over that boost and say, well, you know, why is this happening here? We've got all these products now that have merchandising that's being applied. What's going on here? If I hover over this and click this explain, that's going to go ahead and give us our item information window here, which will then show us, hey, we're boosting North Face down jackets for New York. And I can actually click into this to see kind of how the rule is all put together. But in the interest of time and the demonstration here, just know that this is obviously highlighting the merchandising rule. We're highlighting North Face branded down jackets. And if we look at the results here, these are all down jackets, as we're seeing here, being pulled back in. These really heavy jackets, because of course in New York, they're going to have colder winters. So we would want to drive a different experience now for our Florida visitor targets. So if I clear that visitor target, change that entitlement. Now let's go ahead and look at our Florida examples here. Okay, we're already seeing a very different set of results. We've got a lot more products that are being merchandised to you. They have also a different merchandising score. Before we were seeing 200, it was only like 4 or 5 products that are being impacted. Here we're getting 150 as our boost score, and it's taking over basically the entire first page of results. So again, what's happening here? Why was this put together? We again hover over this and click explain. We're going to be able to see, hey, we're boosting fleece jackets. So no brand name limitation. This is just any jacket then that has a fleece lining to it for our Florida visitor targets. So again, understanding the differences in users, basically, again, going for that personalization there of knowing that, well, in Florida, they're going to be looking for lighter jackets because it's just not going to get as cold down there. So we want to understand the fact that, oh, this visitor in New York is going to do a search for jacket. Their expectations are going to be different. And so we want to merchandise within those, promote those heavier jackets than our visitors in Florida who are going to be doing that same search, but looking for different sets of results. This kind of entitlement, to Gavin's point, and Gavin, we all passed off to you to kind of elaborate further on this.
Yeah.
This is kind of getting into that idea of when we're talking about either warehouses or geographic or, organizations that are logging in or users, individual, this is getting to that merchandising that we can help drive there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we are showing it obviously on a retail perspective, but one of the things you mentioned is could be brands. If you're a large distribution company and you have maybe your own generic brands that you want to promote for certain regions, you can do this. You can apply that. If you want to start maybe introducing personalized or even like paid sponsorship slots, depending on regions, you can start into this is obviously a very kind of high level approach of what you can do with just, geographical information. But then we have all the metrics that support, what are the products being shopped, or maybe you have a contractual agreement with somebody on the West Coast that's different than somebody on the East Coast, and you can only promote certain brands. So you have so much capability from a use case on how you want to structure that information and that experience. So, really 15 minutes is a very tough time. We're already over to show, but we just wanted to show really high level, that customer data has so much value to what you can do from the shopping experience and what you can show your customers or how you want them to interact with the site. So we've really, closed the loop on the data conversation, I like to think now. And we'll be, and like I mentioned at the beginning, we'll be moving towards our next 3-part series, which we're going to be covering off some even further advances that we have now done on the AI side of things, which I think is going to be very exciting to show everybody. We'll let everyone get settled after summer, and then we'll bring it back around. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah. And don't forget to join us for that. We're looking at September 5th is the next one. And of course, in the meantime, go ahead and scan those QR codes, get a demonstration. You don't need to wait till September 5th to see all the exciting AI stuff. If you're interested now, scan that QR code. If you want to know more about any of these data perspectives that we've been covering, want to know more about the entitlements, the segmentation, all of the features that we've been covering here, scanning that QR code, getting an actual demonstration scheduled is the best way to go about doing that. So, Gavin, thank you for joining me. This has been a fun series again. We went another 2 minutes over. I think that's understandable. So much to talk about. But we'll be back in September 5th. See everyone.
We'll see everybody shortly. Yeah, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks.